This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is a Wednesday, April 29th, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. All right, so obviously the most interesting thing which just happened is Guild. Now, take a look at these ask prints that we have at 85. I mean, that is just a huge amount, and obviously we can see there's some type of catalyst that just came in, whether it be, obviously some type of news with some type of drug. All right, but overall, I mean, that's absolutely incredible. We can see that we did have a bunch of selling that came in Edward afterwards, and obviously right now it's kind of just pushing on this catalyst at the moment. But it looks like there's definitely some people out there that obviously are taking profit, but going to be expecting to ride this down a bit for a big pullback from that 85 level, and then overall, obviously, someone's expecting it to go in this amount of buying. Even though we're still at 85, you're talking about someone's looking for it to go to about 100. So overall difficulty of trade absolutely there. And just based off the pre-market, this is just a huge position. So we're going to be looking for that pullback down first because the selling that we had coming afterwards, and then obviously a big move towards that upside. Next thing I'm going to be looking at is BCRX. So it was looking a lot better, but one thing I want you to take a look at is if we look at the prints at the 4 level, you can see there's actually a real lot of buying that came in. Now, we had obviously a little bit of selling, but as we were coming back up, there definitely is some buying that's sitting up at that 4. It looked a lot better as it was coming back up until this bar that came back down because of the ask prints that we saw coming into there. But definitely something that we're still going to be watching pretty closely. More than likely, it's a little bit more of a sideless stock now, just because of the fact that it kind of barred down underneath where that consolidation was. So obviously we're going to want to see it hold this 370, and right here where our trigger started, we're going to want to, we want to make sure that we can hold where those volume breakouts came in, and then obviously that would give us a chance of being able to go back up. But we're going to need to see some buying on these lows as it just pulled back from that 4 level. Next thing is BA. So BA, I know it's kind of a stock that we look at all the time, but just absolutely beautiful prints, and it's not going to let me show them. But earlier this morning, we had not only at 140 did we have great ask prints come in, but at 139.50 we had some really nice ones as well. So just a beautiful show of hand, and it's just a really nice stock. Excuse me, it wasn't 139, at 138.50. And at 138, we had those ask prints that came in. So this type of stock, it's actually a really nice trade. I mean, it's very smooth for the most part, and you get a huge range that comes out of it. So a nice, beautiful show of hand like that obviously needs to fall back below, and then we're going to be expecting, obviously, a trigger back towards above that 140. Next thing going to be looking at is the airlines and cruise ships. Now, I'm just going to pick one. You can pick whichever one's your favorite, but right now going to be looking at Dow just because I like the range in the way that Dow actually trades. We know that we had some beautiful buying that came in at 25. All right, yesterday, but when we came up here on that 25 level now, there wasn't really anything that crazy that came. We had beautiful buying that came above it, but not really anything that we need to pull back from. So really what we're going to be looking for is that continued buying, and obviously we need to get some type of show of hand. Unfortunately, it did not just hit that 26 level, so we did not see much there whatsoever. So it's kind of triggering back towards that selling that we saw from before. And 23.50, you could say not really anything that great, but they're definitely going to be moving today. One thing we need to remember, guys, is the FOMC meeting is this afternoon at 2 p.m. So things are definitely going to be a bit light. Yep, so I was going to go, next one is a cruise lines. I'm going to pick CCL just because it's had the nicest buying out of both of them. RCL, I like the range a lot better, but I like the prints that are coming into CCL a lot better this morning. So we can see nice buying right here, 1575 that just came in before. And if we come back down, you can see it's been mostly bigger buying as we've made this push towards the upside. Unfortunately, we don't really have any type of real great show of hand that came into it this morning. So we definitely need to see some type of more information, but you can see as of right this second, it definitely has the buying to push over that 16 level. All right, next thing going to be looking at on our side list is CMRX. So right now you can see it's not really doing a ton, but I like the buying that came in, how early it came in this morning as we pushed up. And then as we can see at this 2 level, we are getting some buying that's still coming in. We need to see a little bit more, and that's why it's going to be on our side list. But there's definitely some buying that's above this level. So if we have our trigger up, high percentage, not a huge move, but we're going to be able to be looking for maybe that, that 25 cents. So INO is becoming one of those stocks that's pretty much an everyday stock. I mean, it's got a great range as of late. We were trading it into the afternoon yesterday, made a beautiful move towards that upside. And we're kind of pulling back a little bit, but you can see there's nothing here yet. I don't see anything at the moment that gives me, it's got selling at 14, which doesn't help us because more than likely you're not going to be able to get shares of it. We definitely have the buying to go up above, but it's not really anything, anything new or anything special going on. But it is something that that as we come into the morning, we'll be able to trade. And then VXRT, let's take a look. Yeah, no. Okay, it's just not doing anything. So there's definitely 100 times better things to be looking at coming into the morning right now, especially with some of the show of hands that we do have. Now, just remember, because the FOMC meeting, we usually get a pretty slow morning. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to be very picky, okay, knowing that more than likely the follow through is going to be light. That's just how it works for the most part when we have these type of days. And you can already see the pre-market is very, very, very light. All right, so just keep that in mind. That's why, I added the airlines and the cruise line, just because they are moving. They got some prints coming back in, but normally we wouldn't add that just because it's not in any way whatsoever a cliff note stock. Okay, we've been looking. I mean, these things have been trading with stories for a long time now. We're talking about how long we've been quarantined for, like 45 days or something like that. So keep that in mind. But best show of hand by far is obviously going to be that Guild, and then following pretty damn close is that BA. Another sideless torque. Let's see. Yeah, so I was looking at that before. That was, it was actually the top gainer before. And it just looked like it died out. But no, it's, definitely worth putting on the side list now. It's getting a little bit, definitely getting a little bit more coming in, but it looks like the selling is coming down. But shortable, I didn't even notice that. Yep, shortable, very important. So absolutely, we will put it on there because obviously with that gap that it has filled in there, there's not really anything holding it up if we start to get that selling that's coming back underneath it. And NXTD must be new, must be running, all right, so my only problem here is really what most of the time it is when the stock's under $1 into the pre-market, okay? What's going to end up happening if this thing runs as we come into the morning, it's going to immediately get halted. So the problem is if we're only trading one stock at a time and the second that you get into a stock in the morning gets halted, now you basically have to sit there and pay attention to that stock for when it opens and you end up missing out on everything else. So I'm going to put it on there, but just keep that in mind that, that's not something that I personally would want to trade as my first stock just because of that reason. Any type of real move is going to get that thing halted. And Nat, yes, Nat is obviously a nice prints that just came in 7. It wasn't doing anything before. Now we started our meeting, we could definitely see, okay, we have that 7. Yeah, definitely. This isn't even a sideless stock either. This is just a regular stock from yesterday, but it was a beautiful trade yesterday, and it looks like we're getting the prints to make another beautiful trade this morning. So Nat, absolutely. Look at the selling that we have coming into that 7 level. And then obviously 750, we can see right here, that happened even before 8. So this is a pretty big show of hand that came in here at that level. All right, guys, anything else out there that I missed? Anything else out there? All right. So remember what we talked about yesterday. Let's make sure we make our life simple, especially with an FOMC meeting. We see a lot of lighter volume coming in. So let's make sure we're looking for those easy setups, okay? And we're following our rules for exactly what we talked about yesterday in Traders Exchange. All right, guys, I'll talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.